going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 271. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him...
I'm definitely doing that celebration next time I win darts. I've decided that. Doing it right in your face. We're bringing AI to real life coming up here.
I didn't even get to say how you feeling, my friend.
Oh, I'm doing well, man. Got some interesting stuff to talk about. You know, obviously in the dead season here for Austin fans. Obviously MLS on a bit of a break here, hiatus, a strange one, but some news to cover here. I'm super excited for the goals bracket. I think that's always a really fun little thing that we do. I think people get excited about that. And it's a good time for me to, disagree with you wholeheartedly on some things. As you can see, I am the bracketologist today, Joe Lenardi. So ready to roll.
If you weren't going to point it out to the audio-only viewers, I was gonna. So we are definitely in bracket mode here today. We'll get to the 2025 goal of the year bracket. And like you mentioned, man, we got some Austin FC centric news. And then we've also got some big time MLS changes that will, of course, greatly affect our favorite team. Before we get into the rest of today's episode, just want to remind you all listening or watching on the YouTube channel that you can support the show financially by downloading the audio versions of our episodes. Wherever you get your podcast, you can toggle on auto downloads. That'll support us going forward, and you don't have to think about it again. You can go the extra mile, rate and review the show wherever you get those pods. And if you're on the YouTube channel, hitting the subscribe button does help us grow the show. You can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 271, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords. Atone for your sins. Wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. Draymond Green. So let's check in real quick. We are in the middle of the international break, and kind of contrary to how these breaks have gone over the last 6 months or so, we had a lot of Austin FC action that I think we need to recap. And I know some of these highlights are floating out there in the social media ether throughout the Verde universe, but I want to start with our boy Mirtu Azuni, right? He's been a huge topic of conversation over the last month plus, and will continue to be throughout this offseason. But finally, just some flat out positive Azuni news here, because Albania, right? We were talking about the international break schedule on last Sunday's episode. You look over at Albania, right, in a very important window here, looking for that playoff spot in the UEFA World Cup qualifiers, right? They're sitting there in, I believe it's Group K, if I'm not mistaken, sitting behind England in that group. But the Albanians did get a victory over Andorra. This is the game of the two, right? Because I believe they take on the English early this week, or maybe it's even on Sunday. There you go. The veil of podcasting lifted. We are recording on Saturday this weekend. So Albania did pick up the 3 points, and that was behind a Mirtu Azuni game-winning assist off the bench. 31 minutes for Mirtu. You can go find that highlight of his assist, but a huge win for Albania that does clinch them the playoff spot in Group K here. So congrats to Mirtu. You love to see that. And you love to see that for the Albanians, right? They're going to play some more significant playoff games here to try to qualify for this World Cup. And look, man, I just don't think there's anything else that could boost Mirtu Azuni's confidence headed into next season if he's still here, other than getting his national team into this World Cup in the States, or in North America rather, no less, next summer. This was awesome to see, with how much, it's been us too. And when Mirtu lost me a couple weeks ago, you knew he was in a bad spot. So this is, again, it's just awesome.
Yeah, I got to go look it up. I just Googled it, honestly, because I want to see his reaction. I want to see, I'd like to see a smile on the dude's face.
Yeah.
So I will look at that when I get a moment here. But congrats to them. Look at the stats there, just a little box score watching. And it was like an ugly match from Andorra. Probably played the way that they wanted to play in that game, but Mirtu, a little super sub action, getting that assist. Good for him. And I definitely do want to see it, man. Like I said, I want to see a smile from him. Some positive energy and all of that. And yeah, I don't know if it would carry over. You would assume, right? Like if you some positivity,
it
like
can't hurt, right?
I agree,
and especially because he's already played a significant role here in the fall in their push to this playoff spot with that game-winning assist. So
yeah,
man, keep it up, man. And again, like fingers crossed, Goss theorem.
Yeah,
Izuni,
absolutely.
Huge year next year.
For sure, man. And I think, obviously in the heat of the moment and all the emotion from that bowing out in the LAFC round 1 matchup and everything like that, this is a huge change culturally coming over here, being in the United States, playing in this league and everything. And it's not something that I usually take into account because we want to see results right out of the gate and everything like that. And being a fan of this team and having some of the DPs that have come over here just flat out failed for more than just one season, puts us on edge a little bit. But if he can raise his value too, it's like that's another bonus though. So like, hopefully that's going well for him, man. And I hope he's doing good. I really do hope he's doing well.
Yeah,
really
yeah, exactly. And that's to me, no matter if he was moved on or not, I want that guy because you talk about the difference between the visible desire to please all of the fans in Austin, the disconnect between his desire and what he was actually able to do. It makes at least you and me, I think we're on the same page, right? Feeling for the guy.
Yeah.
I still maintain that I would love to at least explore what you could do making a move there, but Mirtu remains our guy all the same. And you mentioned Andorra maybe executing that game plan fairly well until the Albanians were able to break through. Man, I'll tell you, Alexander Svatak gets the start for Ukraine. And for the first half, this went just according to plan, because if you're watching on the YouTube, you can see the first half shot map here for the French, right? Massive, massive favorite. Still maybe the world number 1 ranked nation here. I'm not up on my FIFA rankings. I could tell you the FIBA ranks, I think, on the basketball side, but specifically to this game, man, the first second half splits, 10 shots to 0. Not that surprising, but you look at the shot map and Alexander Svatak, I actually got to watch this game on replay earlier this week as I was in the Piriformis lab. Alexander Svatak is handling some of the biggest names, of course, Mbappe up top, but everybody else that the French run out there. And this first half was extremely effective. None of those 10 shots came inside the Ukrainians' penalty area. All of these were from distance. It's 10 total shots, 0.3 expected goals, and a 0-0 scoreline at the half. Now cover your eyes, brace yourselves. I'm going to flip this to the second half. 15 shots, almost all of them inside the area, and a 4-0 scoreline at the end of this one. France 3.46 XG in that second half. So look, man, it was a valiant effort there by the Ukrainians, but I think we got the correct outcome in this one. And look, man, it was very good to see Svatak, to me, in my opinion, to see him get called upon in a game like this. We don't see him get a ton of time. At least we haven't over the last calendar year. But our first impression of Svatak on the international stage last summer was against the Belgians and taking on De Bruyne and Lukaku and playing the middle of that back five against a team that was heavily favored against them. So the fact that Svatak is still being called on against these teams that are at the upper echelon on the global stage to help Ukraine try to, sniff out some sort of result. I love to see that, man, that confidence in his coaching staff to go to him in those big moments. And to me, watching this game back on the replay on Fox Sports later that night, man, it just kind of, not that my confidence waned in Alexander, but like it renewed the faith that I have that he is such a staunch piece of our back line going forward. It doesn't always look pretty with the guy. He's always a little stiff out there, but he is effective in my book. And I thought that this game, no matter how it ended up, right, 3 of these goals came after the 76th minute. So I thought it was a pretty good performance by Ukraine, despite the 4-0 scoreline.
Yeah, and a pen.
Yeah, that was the first goal, I think, was a pen, right? So, like, that's how they really cracked them.
Yeah, that's how they opened it up. I mean, again, no shame in losing to this French team.
Yeah.
Same kind of same, thing with not the same entirely with LAFC versus Austin, but
Sure.
obviously you're a huge dog in this matchup. But for Svatok to get that experience, be playing out there with some of the best players in the world, man, it's just awesome. So like, I'm super happy that he got to start, went the full 90. Like, this is fantastic to see for him. And, again, like you said, played him tough for the majority of that game. And then the talent just overwhelms you. And it is what it is, man.
So we come back to the Americas here. Julio Cascante, of course, getting called up by Costa Rica for this final World Cup qualification window. And we talked about the fact that the Costa Ricans could still win Group C in CONCACAF and just go ahead and punch their ticket to next year's World Cup. They drop their first game of this window to Haiti, 1-0. No Julio Cascante. He was on the bench, but an unused substitute in this one. And look, I did not have eyes on this one, but all that leads me to do is say, I don't know, coach, maybe you put Julio in there. You find a goal, whether it's from his foot or his head or what have you. An assist, you never know. I'm going to blame that loss on the lack of Julio Cascante in that game. And with the way that table is now in Group CE, Costa Rica trails both Honduras and Haiti. Both of those teams have 8 points. Costa Rica on 6 with just one match to play. So it still all comes down to Honduras on Tuesday. If Costa Rica, who are the hosts in that match, if I'm not mistaken, if they win, they at least clinch a spot for the playoff games in CONCACAF to get into this World Cup. But if Haiti loses and Costa Rica wins, Haiti will play Nicaragua on Tuesday. Costa Rica could still win the group and just qualify flat out on Tuesday. So they have, with that loss to Haiti, put themselves in a very tough spot, needing some help here on Tuesday, but can still continue their qualification no matter what with a home win over Honduras. Not going to be easy, man. I mean, these CONCACAF nations, right? They give the U.S. trouble every cycle. So these guys are really just kind of cannibalizing each other here in Group C.
Yeah, very physical style of soccer too that they play, man. Like it's super physical. It's fun. They get up and down. But best of luck to them for sure. Hopefully that they can find these victories and find some points and find themselves in the playoff there.
And then our last senior team member that was out on duty here this weekend, Danny Pereira, right? Just playing the friendlies there for Venezuela. But Danny getting the start and going the distance in this one. And our second Austin FC player that had a hand in the game-winning goal this past week. It was a hockey assist for Danny P, but a very nice pass ahead down the right side to FC Cincinnati's Ender Echenique, who then squared it across to Ramirez for the winning goal in the 39th minute. But a very well-played game by Danny. And right, I only got to see that highlight, but you look at what some of the Venezuelan fans were saying on social media, and they were very complimentary of Danny's performance. And some of them even hoping that they see more of him in the side going forward, which again is something that Danny wants, and us by extension, we want that as well.
That is absolutely awesome to see, man. And somewhat lost in the sauce of Owen Wolf this year was, I thought Danny took some positive steps forward. We saw, we've seen ceiling games from Danny where it's just like, look at the potential that this dude has to impact the game. And it seemed to come and go a little bit, ebb and flow and all that stuff. But I think you saw a lot more consistency out of him this year. I thought you saw a lot more maturity out of him this year. And like those two things, man, can go a long way for a kid like Danny that we know has all kinds of talent and potential to play this game at a high level. So I'm super, super happy to see that for him. And to hear those things from the Venezuelan fans is awesome, man. And like them appreciating him the way that we do as well is great.
Look, and I mean, one of the best international review segments that we've had here this season for our guys, but some more big games here early in the week. So we will recap those games on next week's episode, E. And this is something that I think, right, it's the time of year you're going to be hearing this a lot.
Rumors, whispers, made up trades, consequences we never weighed. Logic's thin, the mic is hot. Let's pretend this means a lot. Taking shots from way downtown, hoping no one writes it down. Hot takes flying.
Oh, that's good.
It's
It's
time
good.
to dive into the rumor mill here, Ian, and really nothing of substance this week, but we did want to address the two rumors that were floating around in the Austin FC universe. The first one, I believe this was Tuesday, when an outlet that we are familiar with, or at least the name rings a bell from false rumors past, Markaj News on Twitter, was reporting that Mirtu Izuni is exploring his options to return to Europe this offseason, and that Serie A side Cagliari was interested in his potential services. Maybe the report was maybe a loan with a purchase option, things like that, but that was dispelled fairly quickly. First by Tom Bogert in the SoccerWise Discord, pretty much immediately said, yeah, that account is bullshit. And then we had some other Austin FC outlets. I think I heard the We Are Austin TV boys saying that they actually reached out to a source close to Mirtu, and that source confirmed, yeah, that is completely false.
Okay.
But again, it is the time of year, and like nobody is perfect with that, especially us. Like we love getting those rumors, right? The reckless speculation. But you got to have the rumor literacy. And some of these here this week definitely did not set off the alarm bells in terms of how true they might be for us. Like there was another one with Osman Bukhari here, and rumors coming from the Serbian side of things that Red Star is working to bring Buka back to Europe. Both of those that I saw appeared to be fan-run accounts, so didn't put much weight behind them, and nothing else has come out of that. And look, I know that when you and I were privately discussing these rumors when they came out earlier this week, you showed some legit rage that Buka could potentially be leaving. So I don't know. I would give you the space to maybe expand on that, because I don't think that's the last time we're going to hear something about these guys this offseason. And like, I think I'm with you, but like, why did it actually make you like get you on edge to hear that about Buka? Like, is he the guy that is like most, I guess I'll ask you this. Who's the most untouchable player on the Austin roster right now, in your opinion?
That's a good question. I don't want to say Owen Wolf, because theoretically he should
right price, right?
Fetch a very nice price for the team. I think it is Buka. I really do. Because again, with the Mirtu, I guess I'll start with the Mirtu rumor.
Sure.
I think a lot of fans wanted to run with that because they want it to happen, and you want to believe that. So a little bit of confirmation bias that he might be on his way out and everything like that. But that's good to see with him. But with Buka, man, again, from the entertainment standpoint of going to the games and seeing this dude up close, which if you haven't been to a game and you haven't seen him in person when he's just working and dancing on defenders on that right side of the field, it is just awesome to witness, because he just embarrasses people routinely. And then from the soccer standpoint of it and the team build and everything like that, we haven't unlocked him by any stretch of the imagination, in my opinion. I think if we had some more, offensive-minded tactics going forward with Buka, that you could really see him potentially explode next year. Is that going to happen? I'm not sure. Again, we saw the amount of chances that A, he created, and B, that we thought he could have done better with this season, where we saw a lot of near post shots that we just didn't really agree with. And who are we to criticize? But you clean those up, man. And he's easily a double-digit goal contributor coming into this next season. So again, from the hype of watching him play, and with the step that Owen took this year, I would say, the only other guy that gets me out of my seat like that was Seba. And, obviously my favorite player we've ever had here was Seba. But Buka's right on his heels, man. I think if he can put together a really high quality season, you just see how talented he is whenever he touches the ball, man. And I want to find new ways to unleash him and unlock him. And again, I think that the experiment with him on the left, man, I think did a little bit of damage in the relationship with how he felt with Nico. And I can't blame him for that. And I think it set him back a little bit. He wasn't really in his groove. Obviously, we've seen what the team looks like without him. And it's ugly. It's ugly a lot of the times when we have him. And then when we don't have him, dear God, it is almost unwatchable. So I think, I think given the context of what we would have to get for Owen Wolf and what it would look like, I would say Buka is the most untouchable right now, or for me personally. And
or it's like, maybe it's not a fair question because I don't know, like, again, if the right offer came around / what do you replace him with? Like, I don't think I'm really that upset about moving anybody on the roster. It's just for what and who do you replace him with? But right now, I mean, that I think I'm with you where like he's the guy that I want to see on the team going forward the most outside of, Owen Wolf, et cetera, et cetera. Of the 3 DPs, he's the one that I think we just have the biggest ceiling that, like you said, just hasn't really been unlocked yet. Whether like part of the fault of that is on the player, on the coach, and then maybe circumstantial as well. So again, both guys appearing to stay here for the time being. Anything else for you on those 2 rumors?
I mean, I just also want to say with the Buka point is like, we brought BV in and, BV gets hurt and it didn't look great to start, but the chances were coming. We talked about how many missed chances that BV had this season, and a lot of those balls were coming from Buka. So like you could have seen his assist total really, really jump last year if we could have finished at a normal rate for a player like Brandon Vasquez. So that's where I'm at with that. But I'm definitely strapped in to be hearing rumors about these 2 the most, but plenty of rumors coming in about players moving on and everything like that. So strapped in for that and ready to see what we have to sort through and like sift through to find out, like, is this credible?
Right. And we'll also have to do that with some of the domestic news that's come out right around the league, because we still don't. I'm pretty surprised we don't have these option decisions announced yet by the club officially. But we are 10 days away here, right? The 26th is the deadline for those option decisions to come down for every team. Of course, the ones that will still be alive in the playoffs, they get extra time, but you've seen some of these option decisions from other clubs, some of them eyebrow raising, right? And like, I think a guy like Walker Zimmerman, right? That's a huge name and one of the few defensive DPs in the league. And I think because of his contract and his age, the career arc, I'm not shocked that Nashville did not re-sign him to a DP deal or pick up that option, whatever the deal was. But the fact that he is now a free agent, I don't believe they are still in negotiations there. That was the surprising part to me. And man, he was making like 3.2 million guaranteed comp last year.
Yeah.
But like, if he's a guy I would use maybe even max Tam on for a 1+1 or a 2+1, because he is still that good in my eyes. Like, I know some people will point to the injuries with a guy like Zim, and like just this last season, man, I think the injury he missed the most time with was getting kicked in the head on a high boot, which like that's not an age thing. Yeah. So like I would still love him. Like, you replace Julio with Walker Zimmerman, like that's an upgrade in the Tam spot.
Absolutely an upgrade there. And again, I would feel like their fans are feeling like, we'd love to have him back if he takes a huge pay cut, which Walker Zimmerman doesn't want to do. And I can't blame him for that. So again, if you're at the right price and able to bring a player like that in here, good Lord. But I think, I think he's going to fetch a pretty penny no matter where he ends up. And he might be chasing, successful seasons, guaranteed success with where he's at in his career at this stage. But what a player he is, for sure.
Yeah, and that's right. Like when these names come up, like we like to sit here and say their names and dream big, right? But I don't think the idea that we would get a TAM level guy within the league, I think I would say it's more likely we get international guys in those slots, just the way that Roto has done his scouting to this point. And Zimmerman, like I don't even think we're the most likely Texas team because he was originally a Dallas guy. Right. So like if he goes back, you pair him with Uragide. Yeah, I don't want to see that, but I could see it happening. And like this is, I don't know, dude. Does Bruce Arena take over? Does he take over the title as worst sporting director from Claudio Reyna? Because I don't know if you guys saw, listeners, this news story this week. Christian Espinoza, right? We know him very well here in the North End, right winger for the San Jose Earthquakes. He is now a free agent, and not because his option was declined this window, because apparently, reportedly, and this is a Bogert report, so I 100% believe it, his option was up in the summer, and the Quakes forgot about it. So they let the option lapse. He becomes a free agent, and apparently, like, they want him back, but he's not so sure. And I completely get it if the dudes forgot about your option in the summer. And dude, at Bruce Arena, right? Sporting director and coach there. That is an unforgivable mistake. If you want the guy back, what are you doing?
Dude, I can't. Like when you sent me that, and I think I had saw it. I had saw it somewhere. I think maybe on Reddit or something like that. And I was just like, forgot? Like that can't be right. You know what I mean? Like this guy has been there how long now? I mean, ever since
since 2019. I think.
Like he's clearly been their best player. They fumble Hernan Lopez as well. When Bruce comes in with this and everything, like clearly this is a team that is not going anywhere. You know, I mean, again, we've seen teams really flip the script and come back on next season, revitalize and juice up the roster. But to not have this dude as your top priority in the offseason is mind-boggling to me. Again, it's going to pull up the last preview that I did that featured Espinosa, led the league in penalty crosses or crosses into the penalty area. Most crosses in the league, tied with Kai Wagner, and created 20 goal-scoring actions, good for 6 in the MLS at that time, which was the last game of the season. So, like, this dude is one of the best players in the fucking league, man. And for you to forget about him and, like, obviously the level of disrespect that Espinosa has to feel, being part of that Quakes team for as long as he has and the contributions that he's made, I feel for the guy, man. Like, he might have to cry again.
Let me...
I gotta let that go. We all cry. It's okay to cry. Dudes, boys, it's okay to cry, okay? You know, come on.
Look, but I wanted to bring that up, not just to kind of poke fun at Bruce and the Quakes and everything and put that heat on another team and not, our Rigoni 12-game kicker. That's a right-wing replacement, right? Look, dude, if you move Luke on and you brought in Christian, like, I think I'd feel okay about that at worst. Yeah. So there's a name. There's a name
for sure. Him and Des are getting some practice time in together. That'd be nice.
Oh shit. Oh man. I think that concludes our reckless speculation for the day. We'll see, but just know the song blankets the rest of the episode. Yeah. So we are protected here legally.
Zimmerman in, Espinosa in, Buka out. You heard it here first. $25 million for Noble.
Let's talk the news of the week here, right? Because this came out early in the week as just a rumor or a report, right? But the vote was expected on Thursday and the vote passed. I don't think that news gets out if the owners or the sources weren't confident that they had the votes to get this over the line. So as of Thursday, the league announced that beginning in the summer of 2027, MLS will adopt a summer to spring season format, which will align the league schedule with the world's top soccer leagues. And of course, there are many other reasons that the league did this, but I kind of want to go through the press release, talk about some of the points that the league has made here, some of the other discussion points that we've seen happening around the MLS zeitgeist, and then maybe some of the more Austin FC centric points or questions that we have from this change. But overall, when you first heard about this, when you read through the bullet points of what is going on here, what is your ultimate top-end takeaway before we get into the nitty-gritty?
I like it. I think that was the first thing I said to you when I saw it. I like it. I like aligning with the top leagues across the world. I like the potential of making it much more of a seamless transition to acquire players in the windows and to sell players in the windows. And we know that this league is trying to expand into those markets. And, again, having Messi show up here and play, and now he's been extended. You have to strike while the iron is hot, in my opinion. I think that this is a good move for the league. And, again, it's not going to be perfect for sure. There's not going to be a perfect way, but having a fucking break in the middle of the goddamn playoffs. And now we just look at, NYCFC's player who just tore his fucking ACL and now he's
Alonso
done
Martinez
for the playoffs, man. Like, that is ridiculous.
And gone next year,
ridiculous. Dude. That's ridiculous. So, like, I'm for this. It's not perfect, that's for sure, but I think this is a good step in the right direction for the league.
Yeah, and that's one immediate takeaway is that our playoffs will no longer have an international break and our schedule will align with the rest of the world in that area. And so let's talk through this here more in depth. right? So the 2027-28 MLS regular season will kick off in mid to late July 2027. I'll bring up this graphic that the team put out here. Is a nice little thing to look at here while we're talking through this new schedule. So that means that the MLS Cup playoffs and the MLS Cup will happen in May 2028, with the final being in late May. And so we're going to have now, you can see it on the graphic, a midwinter break from mid-December through early February, with no league matches scheduled in January. And that part is something that I think your average internet commenter missed this week, because I saw a ton of comments, whether it's Twitter, Blue Sky, Slack, Reddit, right? Wherever you're looking for this MLS conversation, there was definitely people saying, oh, can't wait for Minnesota in January or whatever. Like, ultimately, man, when you look at this graphic and you think about when the games are being played, it's not that different from what we have right now. Right? Everybody will play in November and that first week or so of December. And then I think you start a little bit earlier in February than we've been used to. But other than that, man, like, we take at least half the league takes a break for Leagues Cup. And if you don't make the knockout, you get a couple weeks break. So that covers for some of the weeks off that we'll have in the summer. And I guess also, before we get fully into the new schedule, like, how do we get there and why is it taking so long, was one of the initial questions I had. And this change is delayed until mid-year 2027 because of, I think, multiple factors. First of all, the Players Association has to get on board, right? There are going to be complications. There are going to be, I assume, revisions that need to be made. I think that CBA is up at the end of 2027, so they'll be getting close to a time where they'll be negotiating anyways. But that's a factor in why this couldn't just happen right away. Also, the contracts with some of the stadiums, whether they are team-owned or not, right? Those teams, right? We know LAFC loves to schedule concerts even when their guys are supposed to be playing. And so, like, there's that factor to think about. And one thing I also didn't think about is, I think with some like box suites and things like that, or season ticket holders in some of these stadiums, that those people actually sign contracts for those that are more than just like what you and I do as normal season ticket holders, you know, paying for one season at a time. So I think it's multifaceted why this doesn't just boom happen in 2026. So we do still have our spring to fall schedule in 2026. And then how do you get from the end of 2026, the quote unquote normal MLS season, to this next season that doesn't start until July of 2027? Well, eMLS has a solution for us. It is a 14-game regular season from February to May of 2027 that will have that 14-game season, playoffs, and MLS Cup. And the results of that mini season will determine qualification for 2027 Open Cup, Canadian Championship, Leagues Cup, and Champions Cup, CONCACAF Champions Cup, that is. So, I mean, that we could do probably 30 minutes just on what the mini season means, what the different twists and turns that we could have format-wise there. Like, I am very intrigued on how that will go. And, dude, MLS Cup is awarded all the same in that mini season. Everybody's got, not just Austin FC, man. If you get hot for 2 months, you can literally be a high seed. And with that schedule, and I think the schedule going forward, even when we get to 2027 and beyond, and we get on this new cadence, the fact they're saying the playoffs occur only in May, I think best of three is a thing of the past.
I think so too. And I think that was somewhere, the press release that I was looking at did mention a little bit about changing up the playoff format, which thank God, because it was terrible. It's just ridiculous for them to have it the way that it was, man. You know, the 14-game season is really, really interesting to me. Yeah. That is going to be fun. I don't know what to expect from that. You know what I mean? I'm assuming you're going to play much more localized, you know, kind of games.
Would think so, yeah.
Than we have in the regular season.
I mean, we're at 30 teams, right? I think that's one game against everybody in your conference.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
That's probably what it is.
Probably. Yeah, that's probably what that is.
Um,
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. And like you said, you can get hot there. You can really go ahead and make some noise if you're a club like Austin FC, man.
Yeah, dude. And like another thing with the full season schedule, once we make the switch, it was already reported that the schedule, we're doing away with conferences, but there will be divisions, kind of like in Next Pro, where the divisions are not in the table, but they do determine the schedule, where I think there's going to be 5 divisions of 6 teams. You will play all of those teams twice, and those will be geographical divisions. And then you play everybody else in the league once per season. So, dude, we're going to get messy games, whether it's home or away. We're going to get to finally go play at Columbus, maybe not till 2028, but it's happening, right?
Yep.
We're going to see all of these teams that we haven't, whether it's at home or on the road, and we're going to see these teams much more frequently. And overall, I very much favor this type of schedule than what we have had, because I like playing everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it might take a little bit away from the Texas rivalries that we have and everything, but like having that inbound schedule.
We'll have 2 games. We'll still have Copa Tejas intact, because Dallas and Houston are in our division.
Sure. All right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, good point. Yeah. I was thinking about the 3 games we played that one time versus I believe Dallas. But you're right there. It's going to be fun, man. Like you said, the Columbus matchup, that'll be super cool. If it's in Columbus, good Lord, they're going to hate us. Oh God, they already do.
I mean, it's happening. They already hate us. So let's get it over with. Let's go in there. Yeah. Wilfred Nancy might be on the move. That's another MLS rumor mill thing right now, which he might be their best asset right now, too.
And then, if you look at direct competition for MLS, right? Like, Liga MX comes up a lot.
Sure.
And they have this kind of Apertura Clausura thing that they work with as well. So I think, trying to rival that kind of stuff and be on par with it is good for the league. And like, I think everyone can agree that we want to see better international players over here. Not to knock the guys that are currently here, but we want to see some of these huge names play in this league. And like, if you have an opportunity to do that, we know that we have a limited amount of big time markets that can attract these type of players, but they still exist. Your LA teams, man, your fucking New York teams. Obviously Miami has been thrown into that mix now as well. So like, I'd love to see it, man. I just want to see the level of talent just continue to rise in this league.
Not to derail us here, but I just noticed your noggin's been blocking it for me here, Ed. El Gato returns?
And returns, baby. I'd put up it's been, I moved into the new place in April here, and I hadn't put any of my stuff up. And today I was like, I'm going to do it. So had to get the big cat art up again. Shout out Mitchie. We're back, baby. Looks a little crooked.
Yeah, okay, it's all right. We'll get it right. It's the computer, it's not the picture.
Yeah.
I do, but like, so getting back to those divisions, again, I have a lot of bullet points here. We may not even get through all of these today. We got plenty of time in the offseason to discuss what's coming for the league going forward. But thinking about those divisions, right? The 3 Texas teams, that's 3 of 6 in the division. The people that I've seen prognosticating on these divisions are putting us with the fucking LA teams, dude.
I know. I was like, give us the San Jose's. Come on.
Well, dude, if you have San Jose, you have to have LA. They're right next to each other.
Come on. Just
give me Sporting KC, RSL Colorado.
There we go.
Because, like, you still got to go to the elevation there. We don't like that. But I would much rather have those teams twice a year than fucking Los Angeles, dude.
I saw that graphic as well, and I was just like, God damn it.
Yeah, like, I don't like that.
No.
And I also think, like, looking at our own, like, looking internally here at Austin FC and how this could affect us. Obviously, this would affect every team, but I'm thinking about this from a contract perspective. Like, at the DP level, 2 of our 3 DPs contracts are guaranteed through the end of the 2027 season, which now, under the current format means December 31st, 2027. That's the winter break of the 2027 season now. So what do we do? And like, you could say, okay, pick up the option. But then you run into the same exact thing the next December when that option is up, that you're going to lose these guys mid-season. So I'm very interested to see maybe if there's language in those contracts that we don't know about that allow to, some revisions to these timelines, because I could see that being a hurdle that the league and these players and these these front offices have to work through. And then what does this do, if anything, to the schedule and maybe front loading or back loading home or away games for all the teams, not just Austin FC, but I think with the games extending into late November and December, and then we pick things up even earlier in February, I think the warmer weather teams will probably be loaded up, right? We will shade some of our home games towards that part of the schedule. I think we could see early and late in these regular seasons that the warm weather teams have more road games, both to begin and end these seasons. I'm not sure I like that.
Yeah.
It's not something that's a deal breaker for me on this, but it's something that I was thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, to touch back on the contracts thing here, I got this little blurb that MLS put out. They said this was a 2-year process, obviously starting in October 2023. So I feel like they had to have something kind of built into these contracts, or at least know about the potential for this change coming down the pipeline 2 years later. So hopefully there's some sort of resolution for that. I would assume there would be. And then in regard to potentially, front loading this schedule, yeah, you don't want to play up in fucking Chicago in February, man. You don't want to do it. And the heat that we've always talked about hasn't really helped us win a lot of games. So fuck it.
Yeah, shit. That might actually be a blessing in disguise for us, that we don't have to play in the heat as much either. And man, some of the other, I guess we should also bring this up on the screen for the YouTube viewers, because this was news that came out a little bit later in the week, is that Apple TV and the league revised the payment structure of, I think it was a $2 billion or $2.5 billion deal over a decade between Apple TV and the league to run MLS Season Pass. And now with this revised payment structure, the deal will now end in 2029. But that also, again, revised the payment structure where now the league is getting slightly more money for each of these seasons through the end of 2029. Apple also forfeited their option to drop MLS at the end of the 2027 season. So I think this is good for the league overall, that now we're locked in with Apple TV for the next 4 years. Clearly, the league and its ownership are making a push to capitalize on the World Cup that's here next year, and any potential elevated interest that could come from that. And you also see it within this revised payment structure. MLS Season Pass is no more. Yep. All MLS games are now available just on Apple TV with the normal Apple TV subscription. Previously, you had to buy the additional Season Pass to get into those games that weren't there for free for the Apple TV subscribers. So this definitely will make it more accessible. And then selfishly, my first question was, okay, do I as a season ticket holder still get access? And yes, we will. All season ticket holders will get Apple TV access. So this whole thing seems like a win. It's not all good, but I think overall, because I could say here, it's not perfect for me. The way my work schedule is, my other fandoms that, you guys think I'm crazy for Austin FC. Talk to me when we're watching basketball. We're going to align MLS Cup playoffs with the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. And then we're going to have summer months where typically I'm just all MLS. And now I'm going back. I ain't watching baseball. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. You can put a pitch clock. I'm still not tuning in, man. But again, my personal gripes aside, I think I can fully understand why this change was made. And I think you like to see the ambition here. Mm-hmm. Finally, it's not like we're long-suffering MLS fans. There are people who have been fans of this league much longer than we have, screaming for changes like this. But certainly with all of these announcements, right, it feels like that a cap spike is coming, roster changes are coming, and in a good way, right? Yeah. If you're asking me, dude, just to jot down 3 or 4 bullet points, man, fucking double, but hell, triple the salary cap,
Yeah.
Get rid of allocation money, dude. Like, keep the DPs. Maybe get rid of U22s. I don't know. Like, I haven't dialed this in yet, but like, there's some very clear things that you could do, like increase the senior roster or the overall number of roster slots, right? There are other things that I think, right, will come down the pike with this, because you look in that initial press release, and the league does say that additional details regarding the 14-game mini season, the transition season as they're calling it, and then the 27-28 regular season, along with the new competition formats, all those things will be announced at a later date. So I imagine those are still in discussion on how exactly they're going to increase the spending here. But the more, the better, dude. Like, let's fucking open it up, man. I don't think you can go no cap. I don't think you can or should do that.
Yeah.
But loosen the purse strings, man. Like, you gotta take advantage. It seems like they're gonna. So I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, it's been a big week for MLS, man, and it seems probable, that, like you said, the salary cap should get expanded if you're trying to line up with these international windows and attract more of these players. So, like, it seems very probable to me, man. I'm excited. I'm excited as well. It's a big week for MLS.
Yeah, and man, it's going to be, right, I think it's an exciting time to be a fan of almost any team while we're going through these changes, right? Because it's all being done, in my estimation, to raise the profile of the league on the global stage. You heard Wilfred Nancy earlier in the week, right? He's in the news for the rumors of him going to Europe and all of this stuff, but he was asked about the potential schedule change before it was actually officially announced on Thursday. And he said, right, and this is a man of global football, right? And so I'll trust his take here. He was like, if we want to be taken serious, you vote yes on these changes. And they did. So it seems to be some alignment between, right, the feelings of the coaches. I'm sure a lot of players feel the same way, all right, because they will benefit salary-wise by that kind of by these changes. Again, like you, I think you put it perfectly. It's a big week for MLS and a good week for MLS.
Absolutely.
Anything else for you on this right now? I know it's a lot, and I'm sure that there's going to be more conversations here in the North End about these changes going forward, but anything else for you here today?
All good.
All right, everybody. It is that time of the year. It is the goal of the year bracket. If you are a North End listener from years past, you will recall this off-season exercise that we go through here every year. You can go to the northendpodcast.com right now and find the goal of the year bracket on the homepage there. You click into that article. You'll have plenty of links to find the bracket, to submit your votes. And just to remind everybody of what we're doing here, we take all of the goals, that technically not all of them, because we do parse a few down. We don't include penalty kick goals, things like that. And over the last few years, as we have scored less and less and less and less goals now, 4 straight seasons, the bracket has gotten smaller. We kept the same format from last year. We have seeded 32 of Austin's 50 total goals across all competitions. So we did even more parsing down than we have in years past here. Some of our past goals of the year here in the brackets, right? The toughest bracket to win was 2022, when we had a full 64 goal bracket there. True March Madness. It was Musa Jite's 3rd goal against RSL, the only hat trick in club history, that took home the crown in the first year of this activity. In 2023, it was opening night, Sebastian Driussi chipping Roman Berkey from the top of the box. That took home the title in 2023. And then last season, it was down to 2 goals that were scored 30 minutes apart from each other in the same game. It ended up being Guilherme Biru's 67th minute goal. It was a go-ahead goal that knocked off Driussi's 100th minute, or 101st minute, I think it was, game-winning goal against San Jose last season. Both of them bangers. I voted for Driussi's. That's the one that made me cry guy for the first time. And so, look, we are here in 2025. The one big change, I think, that some of the true sickos will remember, that we have had some seeding rules in the past, right? In the past, we had like the game-winning goals could not be lower than a 4 seed, right? Any goal scored in a Copa Teos match could not be lower than a 6 seed. The way And the way we scored our goals, where we scored them, when we scored them, it was best, I think, to get rid of those requirements here this year. So you will not see that in our seeding methodology here in 2025. We hope that Austin FC is potent enough offensively going forward to reinstate those. But let's get to the bracket here, E. We have still our same 4 regions that we've had the last 3 seasons. We almost were able to have a Wolf region here this year. Those who participated in 2022 will remember we had an entire region of Driussi goals.
Yeah.
And that was a 16-goal region.
Yeah.
64-goal bracket. So, like, we're a long way from the Driussi region, but home, away, Verde, and Vibes are the 4 regions here in the bracket, and we'll get a little bit of a zoom. We can go through each one. Of course, the 8 goals in the home region, all goals scored at Soccer Church at Q2 Stadium. If you get into the bracket, you can see that all the goals are clickable links to go watch on the highlights, specifically set to the timestamp of that goal, so you can review the highlights of these goals before you put in your votes. The number 1 seed here in the home region, E, is Brandon Vasquez, his 55th minute goal against Atlanta United. Free kick goal, banger. Only the second guy in club history to hit a free kick goal. That got the 1 seed in the home region. Anything you've got? I know you, right? We talked through this. You looked through this. We never agree fully on all of these, and nor do the participants, nor do the listeners, and nor should you. Just like in March Madness, some teams are overseeded, some are underseeded, some got bubbled out, right? We had there was 13 goals we had to decide to not include. So Besard Sabovic, your little bullshit goal against Real Salt Lake. I'm sorry, brother, did not make it in.
I like this 1 seed for sure. This 8 seed, this Rubio goal, I feel like is criminally
I know.
ranked.
I know you do.
The 4 seed in this bracket with the Ozuni, I think the Rubio goal is better than that one, in my opinion.
Okay.
So that's my first qualm there, but I do think the Vasquez one very, very appropriately rated. What a strike by BV there at just putting it over top of that wall and then just out of the reach of Guzan, man. It was an incredible goal.
When you see everybody, E's giving the perfect example of how you should go and interact with this bracket. If your favorite goal of the season, you think the goal of the year was an 8 seed by Diego Rubio, you go vote for the 8 seed Diego Rubio. The March Madness, some of the best things in March Madness are the upsets. And that goes for the goal of the year bracket here in the North End as well. If we look, we scroll over to the away region here, E, of course, 8 goals that were scored away from Q2. 4 of the 8 Owen Wolf goals, including the number 1 seeded Owen Wolf goal from the 37th minute at Sporting KC in September. You've got CJ Fodre's winner from that same match in September is the 2 seed here. And I think you could go down this list and you could see maybe some potential upsets here in the away bracket.
I mean, this Owen goal, man, just the way that he brings this ball down is incredible. CJ is going to be tough to beat in the entirety of this competition. Right? Yeah, like he's going to get a lot of votes, man. Obviously, became a fan favorite for a lot of guys. I love this 77th minute goal versus Montreal for Owen. I think the entirety of that play is just really spectacular to watch, not just from an individual standpoint, with Owen carrying that ball, progressing it up the field by himself, kind of dragging it along, taking on Montreal players, and then finding Ozuni, getting that beautiful give and go. And then Owen, I believe it's a chip, to at least a semi chip to get that goal into the back of the net. So I thought that was a really, really beautiful one there. But man, if I'm voting right out the gate, obviously the number 1 Owen goal, and I think that Montreal goal is going to be a really tough matchup, in my opinion.
Hey, Jean Kolmanich, the 1 goal he got, that 8 seed taking on Owen there. That's a great team goal too, and everybody has their own criteria, right? When they go in here and they put their votes in. So if you like team goals, maybe there's a little upset there in the away region. We scroll down to the Vibes region where the number 1 seed, CJ Fodre, 120th minute winner at Minnesota United in the U.S. Open Cup semifinals. You knew that had to be a 1 seed, right?
Absolutely. Might be the number 1 overall. If we're could be. And then like for the Vibes,
Yeah.
Nothing is topping those vibes for sure. And I think if I had to take an early favorite to pull this home, and I think I got it right last year with the Guilherme goal.
You did.
I think I'm going to go ahead and take this CJ, a little chalk here at the number 1 seed. But again, just a moment that I think everyone, rooting for this team this past season will never forget.
Yeah, fully with you. And the 2 seed in the Vibes region, Azuni's 96-minute winner against Seattle the next week, right? And that was off the boot of CJ with the assist. It's a tough region there in the Vibes region.
The vibes were not super bountiful and plentiful this year, but some of the highs were super, super high, man. This was a great goal. And obviously versus Seattle, to get that dub versus a team that we haven't been able to beat at home was just fantastic.
Yeah, happy to report there were at least 8 good vibes moments here, able to fill out that region. So you close it out with the Verde region, where Brandon Vasquez has his second 1 seed of this year's bracket, his 29th minute goal in the Open Cup against Houston, right? Bringing it down over his head, little bike fake on Ortiz, loses him, buries it, far post. That was a fantastic goal. And then you see
sexy goal.
Yeah, and then later in that game, Ilie Sanchez 60th minute goal. That was the 3rd Austin goal of that game. But I think the highlight of that goal is Osman dancing on the 2 Houston defenders, which again, sometimes it's the team element of the goal that can raise or lower the seeding here in the North End. So there you have it, folks. That is the 2025 Goal of the Year bracket. Again, you can find this at thenorthendpodcast.com. You can go vote now, and voting will remain open until next Sunday morning. We'll calculate these first round scores and give you all an update on next weekend's episode. And then you can go back in for the second round, the Sweet 16, and keep voting for your favorites to go here and take the crown here in about a month.
Yeah, this is a fun exercise. I'm putting that Vasquez Houston goal on upset watch. I'm putting that one on upset watch.
Okay.
I think that 8 seed Owen Wolf kind of dunk goal, you get the element of the Buka dancing on the right side there, and a beautiful ball from Dessler over the top. And that was was that the start of the Owen dunkage kind of stretch we had there, or was that the second one? Okay, but it was in that second. It might have been the second, but that was right in that stretch where where the hell did that come from? He's just skying over dudes. So I'm putting that one on upset alert. Joe Lenardi.
Hey, man, look, the NBA needs some help in February during their All-Star break. I say we set up a little 8-foot goal, let Owen Wolf go out there and dunk against some of the NBA's best, because he was fucking great at doing that this MLS season. Anything else for you here on the bracket? It's that time of year. We're in full nonsense mode.
No, I'm super excited to see the results of this. And again, vote for what you like, man. This is for y'all, and I'm super excited to see what comes of it.
Yeah, look, the seeding is for us. The voting is for y'all. So very excited to see what happens in this year's bracket. And look, you love to see this. We've been waiting for a week like this from the young boys. We got an academy update here from the club this last weekend. Starting with the U13s, they got a 2-1 victory over FC Dallas. Early energy, setting the tone. Gian Zardes, second-minute goal to open the scoring. And then Thiago Cibrian with the 67th minute winner to lift the team to victory. And then the U14s also taking on FC Dallas. 2-2 draw there, but the team was trailing early on. Then Aiden Hernandez got a penalty kick goal in the 56th, adds a brace in the 67th. So the U14s get a point against FC Dallas. Moving up the ranks here, U15s, the old guys taking on AC River, 4-0 for the 15s. Toby Trujillo, 30th minute and 60th minute goals. Luke West also gets a brace in the 35th and 73rd, respectively. 4-0. That's dominant from start to finish. U16s, it was dominant over AC River here for the 3 older age groups. 5-1 for the U16s. Eric Feliciano opens the scoring in the 5th minute. Then a brace from Rocco Viana, 10th and 25th minute goals. Sandwiched a Xavier Brown goal in the 20th minute, and then Roberto Menares in the 80th minute with the victory cigar fifth goal there. La Manita, I believe. It's been a long time since we were able to say that about an Austin FC team. So thank you, U16s. And then a 4-1 win for the U18s. You see some very familiar names here. Goal from Mo Badawia. We saw a lot of Mo at the Austin FC 2 level on that amateur agreement this year. He's doing work with the U18s here. In the offseason, Aiden Hale scored in the 24th minute. Then Jacob Peel a brace, 35th and 62nd minute goals. 4-1 victory for the U18. So 4 wins and a draw. There's only one way to get better than that, boys, and it's a 5-0 weekend.
That's awesome. And I just saw Badawia, right? And like that made me, that lodged my next pro. Did you see this championship game?
I didn't, but I heard it was kind of wild. I need to go watch the highlights, I guess.
33 shots for the Red Bulls.
Yeah.
740 completed passes.
Yeah.
The fuck? What is going on here? Holy 40
beautiful soccer. It
shots
sounds like
in
to
this
me.
matchup. Wow. That is nuts. Because I had completely forgotten all about the Next Pro Championship. And holy shit. 33 shots. Good Lord.
Look, I don't think anybody faults you or anybody else for checking out of Next Pro after our boys bowed out before the playoffs. But then I will say, just to close us out here, on the Next Pro front, Next Pro has not changed their season schedule to this point. And in that press release, the league said that Next Pro has been a part of MLS's discussions over the last several months, and they will continue to have conversations with their owners to make a decision on their schedule. So that is still coming down the pipe as well.
Cool.
Anything else for you before we shut it down here on episode 271?
Nah, go on, shut her down.
All right, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in, sticking with us here on episode 271 of the North End Podcast. We will be back next week, probably at this point, recapping the option decisions, but not guaranteed. But we'll be discussing everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe. Between now and then, enjoy your week, everybody. We'll do the same. We'll see you back here next Sunday for another episode. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.